There's one thing I can attribute to hitting and exceeding my quota up to 250% 13 years in a row in 2 Fortune 500 companies. That one thing also allowed me to scale sales orgs to over 100 plus employees doing over 200 million a year in TCV. That one thing also allowed me to build a 7-figure business in 18 months. That one thing also allows me to run less than 9-10% body fat year round with balanced energy for my family. It's allowed me to be out 99% of people out there in multiple parts of my life. Now that one thing, systems. If you can build systems for everything that is important for you in your life, whether it's sales, business, relationships, health, or whatever, you can literally get ahead of 99% of people in life, as most do not think this way. So in this video, I'm going to break down my 7-figure productivity system and how you can build your own. It's 4 very simple steps to crushing sales, building a profitable business, and doing the millions of tasks that you do on a daily basis without sacrificing your health, your family, relationships, or even your sanity. I'm Marcus Shan, founder of Bentley Consulting Group, in which we implement customized sales training systems and playbooks for teams and AEs to help you blow out your sales targets and become the sales pro you've always dreamed of. In today's video, I want to show you the 4 steps of how you can build systems for every aspect of your life so you can scale results. Now, this training is actually pulled from a mastermind presentation I did in Cabo for Ray Green for a group of entrepreneurs that pay literally up to $21,000 to be a part of, and you get to watch it completely free. And if you want to learn the specific sales system that allowed me to hit and exceed my quota 13 years in a row, you can find the free training in the description below. Also, if you stick around to the very end of this video, you'll see the exact system I use to maximize my cash flow that you can apply as an AE, an entrepreneur, a leader, or anybody who needs money to live. Enjoy.
All right, so who here is very busy as an entrepreneur? Raise your hand. You're busy? Busy? All right. Adam, come on. This is not really. You're like this. What is this? All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So who's ever had a week where you've hustled all week, working 60, 80 plus hours? Hold on. No. Maybe you're in back-to-back meetings. Maybe you're trying to figure out what the am I going to sell? What am I going to build? You're like, oh my God, you work all week trying to figure it all out. At the end of the week, it's Friday. You look up and you're like, what did I do all week? Raise your hands if that's ever been you. Right? Me too. And then suddenly you're like, what am I going to do? And you feel lost. And you start to get stressed out. You're like, some might be like, I'm going to quit and go back to corporate. It's so much easier. I saw that CRO position. LinkedIn just hit me up. So they know I've been kind of looking. Should I just go back to that? Just go back to being an employee? And suddenly your stress level goes up. And you're kind of like Britney Spears here in 2007. You feel a little bit like this. I've been there, right? I kept the haircut though, right? So now we're going to talk about that today because the key is simply a system for everything that is a bottleneck for your business, including yourself, especially yourself. We heard about a lot of bottlenecks. Pretty much all of them are within ourselves, myself included. So we're talking about it today. And I'm going to say the truth. But this is my truth here. I understand this is my truth. But I believe you can build systems for everything. Because if you can build systems for everything, ultimately you can increase your upside for success and decrease your downside. It doesn't mean you won't fail, but if you build systems, you increase your upside, you reduce your downside. In reality, you can do it for anything. And since we have a lot of people in sales, we all know if you have a repeatable sales system of running sales calls and a process, you have the highest likelihood of a close and increase your win rate. That's why 2 reps start at the same time. One can be drastically better because they have a better system and process they actually follow. So if you follow me, raise your hand. Follow me so far? Good? Good. Okay, good. I like roadmaps. So I'm going to walk through. I'm going to cover, all right, so you know what's up. I'll share a little bit my background so you know my background even before this. I'm going to share with you my personal productivity system. These are hopefully some things you can take away to really help yourself. I'll give you some really specific tactical examples because I want you to see use cases and case studies of how to actually apply it for yourself, or at least take the principles to improve your business so you can do more, work less, and ultimately have more time freedom. And then, of course, Q&A, all right? So, quick disclaimer, the stuff I'm going to teach you today are going to be some mental models, some decision-making frameworks, ways of doing things. Some of you might be like, I already know that. Well, if you already know it, why aren't you doing it? So if you're not doing it, you don't know it. It's kind of like reading a book about having a baby and raising a kid. Until that baby comes out, is in your arms, you don't really know. That's the moment when you take that action, okay? Say yes if you agree. Give me a yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool, awesome. So let's go through my background real quick, just so you have like a little bit of context. I'm gonna go through this pretty quick, right? So that's me. I run a 7-figure coaching business. You guys know I work directly with B2B sales pros, right? Pretty chill. 50% plus margins, that's cool. Small team of 5, nothing crazy. Hundreds of success stories, which is awesome. This is what I really do. This is why I do what I do. I get to take 6 to 8 family vacations every single year. Love it, right? Just going with the family, doing whatever we want. I love that. Really, really important to me. This is also really important to me. I get to attend 100% of my kids' school events. So for me, when I was in corporate, I was running a big sales org. I was traveling in a hotel room 100 plus nights a year. When my kid was born, I couldn't be there. That bothered me. I felt like I was letting my wife down, letting my son down, but worse, letting myself down. And that was the worst part. That hurt, I didn't like that. So this is why it's so important to me. I can do this now. I freaking love it. I can go to karate, I can go to swim class, I can do all those things. Even picking up school. So my wife and I, we do a split, 50-50, so kind of disperse it evenly. Before I couldn't do that. So I had to rely on my wife to go do pickup and drop off while I'm freaking out. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah with my sales team out there. I felt guilty, that wasn't good, but now I get to do that. I love it, I absolutely love it. I get to see my parents monthly. If you couldn't tell, I'm Asian, based on my face. We're very close to our families. I get to see my parents every single month, which I absolutely love. Been married for 13 years, together for 16. And yes, I married up, fully aware, right? She's Persian, she's awesome, but we also see her family as well every single week because they live in the same town. I love that as well. I get to work out 6 to 7 times a week. I love that. That's really, really important to me. But I'm just happy, fulfilled, and I'm excited for life. Like, this is who I am. I have an energy for life. I talked to Adam yesterday. He's like, dude, I love just your energy and the way you just bring it. Give me some of that or something. I'm like, dude, when you have alignment in your life, it becomes really cool, but you can't do it without a system. So here's the thing though. Y'all might see some of this like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. But here's the truth. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Never. Didn't want to do it. Absolutely not. And because I'll make sure you get my origin story, I'm gonna go back a few years. So my parents escaped the communist revolution in China and they came to America with absolutely nothing, completely poor. They couldn't really get jobs. It was either go work for another Chinese restaurant or try to do their own thing. So what they decided to do was they're gonna be entrepreneurs. They're gonna start a small Chinese restaurant in a small town called Eugene, Oregon. This is a restaurant, Oriental Village. So I saw, as a young kid growing up, my parents working 80 plus hours a week, not making very much money. Myself as a kid, by the age of 5, I was in the restaurant working, in the back, peeling onions, chopping mushrooms, bussing tables, taking dishes out to the patrons. So I grew up working. By the age of 8, I was doing a 40-hour work week. I hated it. And I saw how hard we had to work for how little money. I saw how stressed it was. I saw when someone would break in overnight, break and steal alcohol, trash the restaurant, how stressed my parents were. And I thought I would worry about being homeless every single day. I hate it. So I associated entrepreneurship as pain. Never wanted that. So what did I do? I worked pretty hard. I went to school, got decent enough grades. Eventually, I graduated. There's me right there. Actually, here's me at a young age. That's my tiger mom. We're working on my lats right here. Just getting strong, getting swole, right? So I graduated, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, something more prestigious. I said, I don't want to do, I guess I'll go to B2B sales. Let me see what I can do with this. And of course, they were not happy, so I went to B2B sales. And I thought I'd be really good because I'm like, I heard it takes hard work. I'm no stranger to hard work. I can do this. It started, it happened to me the last recession. Awesome, fantastic. There's no playbook, there's nothing, it's good, go figure it out. So I'm out there, I'm hustling, trying to figure it out. I'm working super hard, no results, almost get fired. Right, I'm like, I'm a complete failure to my parents. Like I let them down. And at this point, I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Now, fast forward, I meant to figure it out and had some okay success. And it actually stayed in sales and corporate life for another 14 years. And when I started having success, what was really interesting was things started changing for me because I started figuring out sales. I worked for 2 major Fortune 500 companies, got promoted 12 times in 8 years, and I ran a sales organization to over 110 plus employees. We did 200 mil plus a year, right? I was going around do major keynotes, just stuff like this, right? But with really thousands of people in the audience. This is normal. I would train massive organizations as well, and like literally even to this day, like I was like their golden boy because I was the only like person of color that was a director who could deliver results just like at an insane level in a market that never performed before. They didn't understand what was going on. They're having me ride the corporate jets, right? Hitting President's Club every single year. Like this was my life. And what's interesting is in 2016, I started feeling the itch of the entrepreneur. I'm like, ooh, this is something. What can I create and build? Tested it first with an ebook. That was cool, made a little money. Now, eventually, fast forward, the itch started growing. I started testing out different things, but it was 2019, I started yearning for something more impact, to do more, to achieve more. I felt like I was handcuffed. I felt like that horse with imaginary rope tied to the peg. I felt stuck because I knew I could do something more. I knew I could make more impact. I also want more time freedom. I mean, it was cool making great money. It was cool doing all these cool things, but I'm like, I can do more. I can do more. So I decided to eventually go all in. I had a side hustle and turned to a main hustle. We talk more about it later. It's not really that relevant, but had a main hustle, or turned to the main hustle in September 19, 2019. I went all in. I'm like, burn the bridges. I literally had all the stock that I literally hadn't invested yet. Millions of dollars in stock. I'm like, all that. I'm taking ones that's already invested. I'm rolling out. I'm all in, baby. Do my own thing. So I went all in, and it's exciting. Who remembers that moment, that excitement, right before you have to do anything? So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm fired up. Next 2 weeks, I'm grinding super hard. Like I'm working 80 plus hours each week, locked in my home office, working super hard. 2 weeks go by, and it's like early October, and my wife's like, hey babe, how's it going? I'm like, amazing, incredible, fantastic. Any great adjective I could say, I would say, like, it's wild. She's like, oh, awesome, great. What have you been up to? And I looked at her, I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I suddenly realized I was lost. I was lost. I literally felt like me at 4 years old, Mini Chan. It's actually me, that same outfit. Still kind of fits actually, it's kind of weird. But I felt lost, right? I felt like, again, like the outcast kid. The only Asian kid in the group. Parents made me aware of this. I didn't start speaking until I was 4 years old, had a speech impediment, and I stood out like a sore thumb, and I felt completely lost, like I did not belong here. I thought about giving up and just going back to corporate, begging for my job back. I thought about opening up sales and ad and start looking for jobs. I thought about all those things. Now, here's the thing. Fortunately, I paused myself, and I looked into my past. I'm like, but what have I done in the past? I've been through a lot of transition in all these roles. What did I actually do? And I realized, subconsciously or consciously, I would ask myself two really simple questions. And it's really this, which is, number one, what's the goal? And number two, how do I optimize for it? And it was literally that simple. I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty simple, okay. So I started really kind of thinking, and I realized because as an entrepreneur, you're the author of vision. You create the path. If you win, great job. If you lose, your fault, figure it out. No one's coming to save you. So I started building some simple systems and started to execute and start taking action. I chose a path and I went all in. That's all I did. Chose a path. And my first full year of 2020, and I did okay. I'm making $651,000, right, cash collected, no employees, no VAs, no editor, just me, just doing my own thing. We ran over 50% margins. It would have been 94%, but I wasted over $200,000 in just ads and just a bunch of other bullshit trying to learn that type of stuff. But it is what it is. Good learning lesson though, right? One LinkedIn top voice, that was pretty cool. You know, I thought it was kind of neat. And then more importantly, had the opportunity to like help a lot of students. Like my offer was changing lives, which is why I decided to go into this to begin with. And that was really, really neat. And ultimately, over time, these systems would start getting better over time. And I add more systems, right? To the point of even something like this. So I wrote a book, got lucky, Wall Street Journal bestsellers list, which is cool. But also, I would build a book funnel. So this way, people that buy my book will go through and get optimized automatically through the system to book calls so we can close deals. And then we add an outbound like sequence on top of that. We really scale those results and make more money. And the reality is Systems can be applied to everything. Whether it's a book funnel, whether it's content, whether it's operations, whether it's sales, whether it's your life, it does not make you build systems for everything, right? And what I'm gonna teach you next is gonna be 4 super simple steps that will actually align to a lot of things we kind of covered overall in the last couple of days that you can really take and apply for yourself. Because these steps will help you build the systems to help you scale not just your business, but your life. Everyone follow me so far? Good? 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 Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So step 1, number 1, vision clarity. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Life and business, this sounds familiar, right? This is important, right? You just gotta ask yourself, what am I optimizing for? What am I optimizing for? Burn that in your brain, because when you get stuck and you try to make a decision, what am I optimizing for? It's very, very important, because otherwise you will get shiny object syndrome. Like, I'm gonna go after this. Ooh, I'm gonna go after AI. I'm gonna go after. You can do all the things you want, right? But if you try to go after all of them, you're gonna fail. That's just reality. Okay. So, for example, one of the things I thought was really cool is like, even talking about vision, mission, principles, right? I have my own version of it, right? So who here has their vision, mission, and principles written down somewhere? Raise your hand if you do. A couple people, great. How many of you look at it every single day? Think about how much incoming noise happens all the time. I'm a firm believer, you definitely need a really robust doc, just like we saw today with Ray. But you need something simple, and I'll show you a really simple example, right? So this is mine. I told you, I'm kind of stupid. I need really simple things. This gives me clarity. So every single year, I update this. This isn't ClickUp, by the way, it's really simple, but I start off with number 1, what's my word of the year? What's my theme of the year? One simple theme. I just want one simple theme. This year is simplicity. The reason why simplicity is I would get this shiny object syndrome. What would happen? I would keep changing and pivoting, adding too much to my business, making it more complex. It became a Frankenstein of a business. And that's hard to scale, having that much crap all the time. So I'm like, I'm gonna simplify. I'm gonna simplify. Very important, okay? What's my mission? I want the quadruple F, right? Fortune, freedom, fulfillment, family. That's it. It's very clear for me. This is what I'm all about. Stack cash, build wealth. All right, freedom, choice, confidence, happiness, fulfillment, internal, external impact, family, directing community, right? I can put it all together, okay? My guiding principles. These help me make better decisions. Like, is it fun? If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. Hey, if I hate fulfillment, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm going to remove it. I don't want that. Like, you have to enjoy it, right? Impact. Does it make impact, right? Growth, results, simplicity, efficiency, innovation, community, consistency. Now, this is for me. You got to have your own, okay? How about targets? My targets for a year, right? So we'll do 1.7 million cash collected minimum, but my big goal is 5 million cash collected, right? 5 mil, okay? For this year at least. 50% margins, YouTube, 10,000 plus subs, at least 4 travel vacations, and less than 160 pounds, and less than 8% body fat, right? So again, it's specific, very simple. So it's like, if you have to think too hard about what you're going after, you're not gonna think about it. Make it easier for yourself, remove that friction. Habits, what habits do I need to do to get to where I wanna go? So here's some simple ones. I do what's called 12-week year plans, the way I kind of plan. 1 YouTube video a week, 10 social media posts a week, 2 emails a week, 6 workouts a week, 10,000 plus steps a day, eat clean. Projects for the year. As an entrepreneur, you're like, I need to do like 1 million projects. No, you don't. You only need to do ones that matter. What matters when it starts the year? The projects are aligned for everything else. So for example, I want to record and update a brand new video sales letter, because that crushes, books calls, closes deals. I love it. So I did that. That was already done. YouTube mastery. I want 10K subs, because YouTube has been a really good growth channel and nurture channel for every part of the funnel from the business. I'm gonna expand on that. Restructure all my email campaigns, already done. Clean up the website, consolidate, right? So my ops guy, we're almost 60% done. So we're consolidating, we're cleaning up. I had a bunch of janky sites. I'm like, get rid of all these old domains. Start forwarding them, give them proper, like we're gonna run a proper business, right? Can't be that solopreneur who's just like shooting from the hip anymore. Zoho analytics and data tracking, right? Before, I was tracking through Google Sheets and all this stuff, which it works for a while, but eventually over time you need better, accurate data, not pulling manual data. So now we have proper tracking, and my guy builds it all out. We have dashboards, et cetera. So I now have enterprise-grade software analytics. It's amazing, right? It took forever to get to that point. So, make sense so far? You follow me? Say yes? Yeah? Yeah? Good, okay. Helpful? Yeah? Good. Here's another example. This is my perfect CEO week. What's your perfect week look like? From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, what does your perfect day or week look like? Really, really important, right? So just to give you an example, this is how I do it, right? I have different colors. It makes sense for me. Blue is like, I consider an investment, gives energy, future, ROI. Green gives energy, high ROI, right? Orange, a delegation, removes energy, but might be high ROI still. Red, eliminate, removes energy, low ROI. Okay? So my morning stuff I do in the morning, I want to have breakfast with my kid every morning, right? Really important to me. Really, really important to me. And then deep thinking time, deep thinking and building. I go into the man cave, and I go and build shit. And I think, and I do deep work, and I create, right? It's really important. Then I held my EA, okay? Delegation right here for now because I'm actually an ambivert. I actually prefer to be myself. So most people don't realize that because I can come up here and deliver a presentation, but I get exhausted over time. So really important. Remove energy, right? So then lunch with my wife, and then a podcast or interview with my I love doing that, so that's going to help the business. Non-work hobby, really important. I want to learn Jeet Kune Do, right? Maybe Krav Maga, I don't know, but Jeet Kune Do looks awesome to me, I don't know. So yeah, dinner with the family, family time, family walk, maybe a little bit of prep and sleep, right? Tuesday, kind of a similar thing, right? Wednesday, kind of similar. So we kind of see like you can see like there's some themes here, right? So who here has ever drawn out their perfect week? Anybody? You have? Good. See? Yeah. So how can you optimize for the life you want if you haven't decided what's going to look like right now? If you don't know what you're going after, it's hard to get there. I'm not here yet, just so you know. I'm working on it, which means I have to do certain things. I need to get out of my comfort zone. I need to spend more money on people and hire more people. It's really uncomfortable. But at every new level, there's a new devil, right? I need to push my status quo, right?
You're saying this is not what's happening right now.
No.
This is what you are trying to get.
But we're getting closer though, right? Like I'm probably like 80% this right here, right? So I'm trying to get to 100%. And it won't be, by the way, it won't be perfect every single week, but if you get a pretty close to the line where consistently you're running it at 80, 90% every single week, and you're running the life you want, doing things that you want, you know, that's pretty good, okay? So here's a couple, like, this sounds good in theory. Here's some really simple, fast tips. This is what I recommend. All right, so number one, do what I call, it's the Aladdin Factor's 100 Wishes exercises. So anyone ever read Jack Canfield's The Aladdin Factor? Pretty good book, right? If you don't know what it is, imagine that you had the genie's lamp, and you rub the lamp, and he comes out, or maybe she, who knows, I don't know, whatever, and they grant you 100 wishes. And you start writing down, and this is best to do when you're by yourself, complete silence, and you start writing, what would the 100 wishes be? Think about everything. Think about lifestyle design. What would your business look like? What would it feel like? If you have a partner or don't have a partner, what would they look like? What would you guys do? What would your days look like? Every single part, just like the vivid vision we talked about before, write it all out. Everything, things that you want. Now, I've done this exercise multiple times, and I've struggled getting past 50. It's kind of strange because you're like, oh, interesting. Like, I got to think bigger. I got to start doing this. And it's kind of a cool exercise, right? So first do that. Just kind of brain dumping everything you want. Really important. First is the brain dump. And then from there, you start extrapolating out your vision, your mission, your values, your perfect life, work week, whatever you want to call it. So this way, you're able to have a semblance of like, cool, like maybe not all this is important. Maybe it is. It's okay. There's no right or wrong. It's just getting it all out. Empty the brain so you have clarity of mind to make better decisions. And then you write it down, and then you look at it daily. It's really important to look at it daily because this helps you guide you every single day. Really important, okay? Good so far? Useful so far? Good? Good? Okay, good. So that's like step one, which I would say is probably one of the hardest steps, just so you know. It seems simple, it's hard because you have to look in the mirror, take ownership and accountability, and be a leader, lead yourself into like, this is what I'm gonna do, okay? Number two, step two is data clarity, which is, now we know where we're going, but we need to know where do we currently stand. We know where we wanna go, but where do we currently stand? Really important. So Let's walk through. So for example, you want to get the data. What do you want to optimize for? And what's currently happening? So it's kind of like if you want to lose weight and you get a personal trainer, what's the first thing they have you do? Get on a scale. That's all we're doing. We're getting data. That's all we're doing, right? So that could be for anything. Let's say, for example, you're like, oh man, I feel like I'm not getting enough leads, not really converting. I have landing pages, or maybe you have a PDF guide, or maybe you have a sales audit you're selling. Like, oh, they're not like, it's not optimized the way I want to optimize. I'm not getting enough leads. Get the data first, okay? Funnel conversion, if you have different stages of your funnel, same thing. Sales conversion, maybe I was like, I don't think it's really good. What's your close ratio? How many calls are you running? Get the data, okay? Health data. If you want to improve your health, like, what's the data, right? And by the way, your doctor saying, oh, you should lose some weight or you should do this is not data. That's an opinion, unless they back it with data, right? Big difference. Time spent in. Maybe you want to be more effective with your schedule. What's your schedule actually look at 24/7? It can be anything, doesn't matter. And you can't get my point, it can be anything. Just, you have to get the data. Then you identify the constraints. Where's the bottleneck? What's the biggest constraint that when you fix it will give you the greatest leverage, right? So for example, a lot of people, whenever they're trying to like save money and like maybe make more, like, oh, let me just like cut out Starbucks coffee, etc. Yeah, maybe that'll save you like some money. Or if you own a home, what if you refi? Now you'll save thousands of dollars, right? Big difference, right? Most of us are stepping over, $100 bills to pick up pennies, right? So we got to change how we think. Then we prioritize. What's most aligned to step one? What's most aligned? And then we decide and we systematize, which is, you're going to eliminate what doesn't make sense. You're going to automate, delegate, and do. Okay? You follow me so far? Give me a yes. Yes? 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 Okay, cool. Let me give you a really specific example, okay? Every year I do a time audit. I will track every 15, 30 minutes exactly what I did in that time frame. And it's pleasantly horrifying when you force yourself and you hold yourself accountable to that level. I recommend 2 weeks in a row, right? And I'm talking about systems here. I think I'm pretty productive. And I did it, okay? I did all this. So I wrote it down in a Google Sheet, right? And by the way, there's different colors up here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's I put dollar amounts, by the way, to make for myself, dollar amounts for tasks. So like minus 200, right, are things that basically impact my energy and make me not as productive, right? So for example, I know when I drink and smoke weed, oh man, it really impacts my productivity. It really does. Like, I'm just not on my game. That's just not how I am. It doesn't work for me. And there's no judgment if it's better for you. This is just purely for me. So you have to figure out what's for you. Or consuming mindless social media. I go down rabbit holes. I'm like, oh no. Like I was testing out TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, an hour just went by. I didn't even mean to. Hate that, right? Read the news. Oh, now I feel bad about myself. The economy is tanking. Oh my God, what happened next? Terrible. So that cost me money, minus $200 an hour. $20 an hour, stuff that's like customer support, admin, checking email, approving content, ready to buy groceries. That stuff I was doing. Like, oh, what a waste of my time. $200 an hour. So it takes more skill, worth at least $200 an hour. So it's like running sales calls, coaching calls, leading the team, okay? Building some system, client checking, operating. I can start $200 an hour, right? But the money zone, for me, is going to be my zone of genius, the $2,000 an hour, which is writing powerful copy, creating video sales letters, doing things that generate long-term like assets and value, stuff like that. Attending masterminds, because you start expanding how you think about things, really important, etc. So, and I went through, and by half an hour, I rated every single thing I did. So I had an idea. So now I have some data, okay? Now here's the thing. I'm like, I'm Mr. Productive. Like I'm really disciplined and systemized. Once I had the data, I did 2 weeks. 35% of my week, I'm doing admin stuff like that's worth $20 an hour to me. Meaning I'm stepping over $2,000 dollar amounts to pick up $20. So every hour I waste approving content and doing some things that I shouldn't be doing, I'm actually costing myself $2,000 an hour. And I think I'm pretty proactive and self-aware. No, I'm not. I'm delusional. Like human beings are masters of self-deception. We tell ourselves any story we want to tell to justify the beliefs that we have. So once you get the data, you can either keep telling yourself that same story or you change the story. Right? Here's another example. I think I eat relatively clean, I think I'm relatively healthy. I try to take care of myself, do all these things. And then I got a blood panel done with a company called Inside Tracker. Anyone ever heard of Inside Tracker? Yeah, cool. Inside Tracker. Have you done it? Love it, right? So, tests 44 different biomarkers, covers all the things about your body and how your life is. And the results, at risk 2 different biomarkers, needs improvement 11, optimized 36. But here's what got me. My actual age is 38.6, my inner age, so how I'm running on the inside, 45 years old, meaning I'm aging faster than a calendar. That's not good. That means I have a short lifespan. That's painful to look at because now I have data. So I can now do something different with the data, okay? So this is why we can't trust our feelings or thoughts, right? Like, intuition's important, but you need objective data as well. So whatever you're optimizing for, get the data, okay? Makes sense so far? Yes? Good? Yeah? Okay, good. Next, system building. So now we got to build it, right? So a couple of simple things you got to have. So some system absolutes, we'll run through these. Easy to learn, okay? Easy to use and learn. And this has to be clear. What needs to be done? Who needs to do it? When does it need to be done? When will be checked for completion? How often? And where will it be tracked? Okay, I'll get on for a second, but this is important, like, because otherwise, the mistake a lot of people make is, oh, I have a new system. Let's just say, for example, a diet is a system. I'm gonna do a new diet. Great. I get all the groceries, right? Maybe I usually order out. I'm gonna get all the groceries. I'm gonna order groceries. Cool, comes to my house. Awesome. Week goes by. Ate all the food. Oh no, shit, like, well, should I order from Postmates? Should I order from Instacart to get the groceries delivered here? And I gotta make dinner. Oh, now you're forced to make a decision, and 9 times out of 10, you'll choose the wrong decision. And now your system's falling apart and breaking, because you have to wait to manage all this type of stuff, right? So let me give you a really simple example. Who's ever set annual goals, and then 6 months into the year, or partway through the year, like, oh shit, I'm totally off base. Who's ever been there? Or like, what's my goal again? Like, what am I optimizing for? Right? You forget. So here's a really simple example. This is what I do. You know how to do this. This helps me, but I have a really simple way of doing it. This is for annual goals. The way I kind of manage this is I have first a daily reflection. It's in my Google Calendar. So I'm gonna reflect every single day on certain things. So here's a really good example. So this is a screenshot. I just did my Apple Notes. It's really easy. Cool, like, how was my day? What were some things that was nice? Okay, cool. Collect like 3K in AR. That was cool. That was nice. People pay their bills. That's nice. I got my 12K in steps in. Had a really good podcast interview. We booked at least one strategy call. I'm kind of disappointed about that because it's not enough. But okay, at least we booked a call. It could be 0. That's some progress. I'm good with that. I updated the offer to launch, which is cool. That's gonna help make it really good. My kid has crazy allergies. So he ate all his food he's supposed to eat. That's a win. I think it's a win, right? But my opportunity, I do one, so like basically some micro wins. What's my opportunity? I'm pissed. We didn't enroll any new cash. No fresh blood, right? I have a new business background, 100% hunter. I like fresh blood every single day because we're changing lives every single day, right? But there wasn't any that day. And I don't like that. It doesn't matter. Focus. Tomorrow, what am I going to focus on? And I write it down the day before. This way, I know what to do next day, right? Based off what I'm evaluating, heading towards my main goals, which was I'm gonna get my content done, and I'm gonna write and record an updated sales video for my strategy call booking page. So now it's very clear what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I don't need to decide. I'm deciding beforehand. Weekly reflect and decision journal. So at Google Calendar, send me every single week. I'll reflect. And it's in my calendar, so I can make sure I'm doing things I need to be doing, which is gonna help me. So some questions by Steve Fuller. What gave me energy this week? Really important. What stressed me out? My rep closed only one deal that week. Pissed, right? That made me stressed. What's the exact volume? The closing ratio that week. Don't like that. Okay? What can I eliminate or remove to simplify the business and more? Like what does not align with the business is not essential. So I'm always looking to remove and eliminate, right? I'm adding constraints, okay? So I might add more automation. What decisions did I make this week? Why did I make that? So a lot of times we make decisions today and we don't always see the result potentially for months or even years. And we forget sometimes that some of these decisions that we decide and the impact it can have. So I track it, I put it in here. Because this allows me to reflect back like, oh, interesting, like, because I made a decision 3 months ago, here's the benefits now. Interesting, right? So like what different decisions did you make? And then you track it. And why do you expect this? So for example here, I put on here, I quit coffee. I'm like, all right, I quit coffee. I'm like, I'm going to matcha, see what's up, okay? I think I'll sleep better. I have a sleeping disorder. I'm like, I need to improve my sleep score some more. Maybe this will help. I don't know. It helped a little bit, I think, so far, right? Consolidate some other stuff. So my focus next week, right? Hey, collect 50K in new cash sales, on 50K in PIFs, okay? Raise presentation, this thing right here I'm building. I built, right? Improve the offer more, the unique mechanism. So you can't get my point there, right? And then monthly reflection, kind of something similar every single month, okay? So you kind of see like, these are things like you have the annual goals, but this kind of helps you catch these things now and make pivots in your business. The mistake is wait till 6 months in, we're like, oh no, I have to pivot. And now you just wasted all the time. This allows you to catch things in the day, in the week, in the quarter, right? Same concept, okay?
Marcus?
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you in the first one. So
Sure.
the Monday example,
Yeah.
you basically at the end of the day go back and sort of see what happened. Was that the first example?
Yeah, so for daily reflection, so every day, like at the end of the day, there's like really 3 things. What are like my micro wins that's moving me towards my annual goals? That's it, super simple. And they don't have to be big or crazy. It can be literally as simple as like, I decided on doing this. That's a big win, right? So redefine that win success is really important. And then what's the opportunity? What's something like, oh man, like I wish you did this differently. But you don't beat yourself up. It just gives you clarity on what you might have to do a little bit different tomorrow. So you might need to pivot your strategy for tomorrow if you had a different plan, depending on what it's going to be. And then what's your focus tomorrow? And that might align to the opportunity, by the way. So it depends, okay? That make sense? Good? Great question, good. All right, cool. Same with quarterly goals. That's important too. So quarterly, I do a little bit different because I need to get a little more granular. It's a different level. So I use ClickUp for this, right? You can use any tool, it doesn't really matter. But I break it into pillars and projects inside. And then I also break it within steps inside as well. And then I delegate within ClickUp. And I also weekly to-do reminders to check ClickUp to make sure things are moving forward. So for example here, a couple of focuses like, it's like do K and cash collection for the quarter, which basically means book 3 calls a day, close 1 a day. Book 3, close 1. Book 3, close 1. Book 3, close 1. So that's a focus. Book 3, close 1. That's a focus. Simple. It's easy. I'm stupid, remember? I need simple things to remember. Okay? Profit, same thing. You kind of see some stuff already completed, but offer, and I can get updates. But you can kind of see like everything here rolls into the annual. Everyone see that? Yeah? Give me a yes if you agree. You see it? See it? Yeah? Cool? Cool. All right, good. Let's give it an example. Content management. Content's an interesting one. Who here loves doing all the content? Right. It's kind of a beast. It really is. So I have a really, really simple system, the way I do it. I manage it on ClickUp, by the way. Again, it doesn't matter the tool. It's just a tool. That's how I use it. So on the 20th of the month, this is my process, 20th of the month, I take a look at the content analytics and shield of the prior month. It's my Google tab. It pops up. It's recurring. 20th of the month. Oh, it's like, look at the analytics for LinkedIn. Great. I take a look, and they're like, what performed well? What's the data tell me? What were bangers? Where did I get the most leads that day? Oh, that day we had 60 leads inbound that day. Interesting. What did I do? What happened? So I have a very tight feedback loop so I can make better decisions, okay? And maybe it's really good content, I can repeat the content, okay? 20th of the month, planning for the next month. So on the 20th of the month, it pops up. So today is the 19th. Tomorrow it's gonna show my Google Tasks. I'm like, plan the next month. And I'll go out there, you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but this is May right now, but half is already completely done. But I've written all the content for the whole month already, completely done, and I've already started planning June already, right? So if there's a block, it means I've already planned it out, right? And then on the 20th, I'll just tighten up even more. So what happens is, I'm always ahead, I'm always running ahead. I don't need to think and worry. And then when I write content, when I create videos, write content, etc., I typically do it on every Tuesday. Every Tuesday I write content, but because I'm 2 weeks ahead, I'm really creating 3 weeks ahead of content. But I don't do 1 week at a time. So now I have a buffer. I'm always running 2 weeks ahead at the very minimum. This gives me freedom to pivot and change a post if I need to, and there's no stress of like, what should I write today? What should I write tomorrow? No, I don't need to. I got this, right? I have any ideas, things I see, I'm like, ooh, what's a good post? That's a good whatever, and I throw it as a card. Did you have a question, Adam? No? And then I will just write, and then I shift the stage, and my team will edit it, schedule it, create the carousel for the content I wrote, edit the video that's already been done. I don't do any of that. They schedule it, they publish it, they post it for me, they do all that. Yeah.
With you, Google Tasks, could you just talk a little bit about how you use that and combine it with Google Calendar?
Beautiful. So Google Calendar, it's like you can have like a recurring thing on your calendar for Google Calendar, which is great. And then there's also gonna be tasks as well. So tasks, so I find a lot of people, well, where do most people keep their tasks? Like if you need to do something, where do you put your to do?
I use Notion.
Notion, good. Asana, good.
Not good.
Doesn't matter. Notepad, yeah. Okay. On your calendar, okay. There's no wrong answer, right? Now I'm gonna challenge you. Do you only have one place you put to-dos, or do you put it in many places? Do you do it on some of your notes? Right, Post-it notes.
Yeah.
I got some hard written, I got some in Google Tasks, I got some in my calendar. My challenge, have one system, right? One. That's it.
Google spreadsheets for everything.
See, it doesn't matter the tool, it's one system though. So when you go grocery shopping or you order on Instacart, do you have 20 lists or one list? You have one list. That's it. It's the same concept. So this is how I use Google Tasks. So really simple. So one list for all the tasks that I'm gonna do. If I need to check in, I'll check in on people and certain things. I'll create a task for that too. So it's one list, but it's all set. I put it like when I want to start working on it, as a due date. So this gives me a buffer to think. So let's just say, for example, and by the way, there's going to be a recurring task too. What are recurring things you do every single day, every single week, every single month that you should have somewhere to remind you to do it? Here's a simple one. May 1st, it popped up on my recurring task. Plan for anniversary. It's 2 months out, my anniversary. But now I have 8 weeks to think out. My admin does to think out something really creative for me to do. Okay, for my anniversary. I have a buffer to think about this now, right? So like you build a buffer to a time you can actually allocate to when you want to execute the thing you want to do. This gives you time, which we don't have. So you think ahead. This is how you start doing it, right? Okay. So that's a recurring task. And then this one, once you complete it, it basically deletes it.
Connect with Google Calendar.
Yeah, so you can have it set up where it's right above. And I'll show you in a second, actually. I'll show you. I have it here. So this way it's right above, so it's all in one spot. Or you can do it as a sidebar. But you can do it on your phone, etc. So let's just say, for example, who's ever been out somewhere, like, oh shit, I gotta do this thing I forgot to write down, right? So you're like, you're like, hey Siri, create a reminder for this, right? Like let me email myself, right? I've done it all. So now instead, if you have like one throat to choke, you open that thing up, whether it's Google Tasks or anything else, you put it inside there. So now you have one place to like empty your brain. Now you have clarity of thought. Makes it much easier. Okay, really good question. Okay, all right, cool. To do, here it is. Here's an example. So you can kind of see, like this is how it shows up on your calendar. You just make sure on the left side you click the to-dos, and I'll put it on here. Look, AR collections. My team does that, but I like to make sure. Gotta get that money, right? Gotta get that money. I check on these funds they hit with the financiers that I use. I always make sure. Gotta get that money, right? Really important. Check on students. So tasks, work the 12-week plan. So I'll set things on like a sequence, on reminders for certain things. It can be daily, monthly, weekly, quarterly, annually, depending on whatever the thing is. Coaching call on Tuesday, prepare some stuff you gotta prepare. Look, find a physician. My guy retired. I put it on there. Well, I told my assistant to find it. This is what I need you to do. Like, okay, cool, awesome. Then I move it out to another day, and I'll check later. Hey, what'd you find? What are my options? Who has the best reviews? Right? Anniversary, different things you kind of see here. Profit first, account distribution, if you guys do that. Oh, look, buy ETS to crypto. Hey, you like that? Huh? Oh, yeah, every single week, baby. I'm investing every single week. I'm buying the future. So anyway, stuff like that. Even update my net worth tracker, right? I track my net worth. I track everything. Yeah.
Probably a super obvious question.
No, not at all.
Point, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're attached to some Calendly or Acuity or whatever, so that's a completely different. You have multiple calendars.
Good question. So those are online calendars that should sync to a main calendar you use. So for example, I have Google Calendar, and then Calendly syncs to that. So the availability that shows up on Calendly will show what's on Google as long as you sync it up. So when they book it, it just shows up on your calendar.
But if you, I understand that, but if you've got, if you're lining up your whole Google Calendar with all the things that you're doing, it's not going to show availability.
Oh, good question. So these are tasks that show up there. All right? So they're not events. Events are like on your calendar. Yeah.
Before your events though,
Yeah.
look like you had a full calendar.
Yeah. Oh, are you talking about the other example? Yeah.
The perfect week that you're
Oh, yeah,
saying,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you block it off.
Oh, yeah.
That won't show up with this.
Yeah.
This will show your availability.
Yeah, yeah.
This is just, it's like above the fold.
Exactly. But here's the thing. When you're building a perfect week and you have time blocks in there, you basically want to block out what you don't want people to book time with, right? And if you actually like, you know what, I'm going to open some spots up, you can open it up. But I like to have the first choice. You're the author of vision, right? So like, yeah, go ahead.
So when are you in your calendar, like, are you blocking time then to do these things? Or like, you're just saying like to-do list items and not to block? Or like, how do you
Great.
account for that?
Good questions. There's gonna be times during the, like, I'll look at my calendar, like the night before, I'm like, all right, cool, like, here's the things I need to do tomorrow, block a little time and block for that. Really easy. Or maybe like, that's not a priority, I'm just gonna move it out. So that way, you have like a main place to kind of work off what you want to get done. So it's really important, right? So.
So where do you, because this makes it for essentially the 5 days.
Yeah.
But you also have all the different planning and reflection and things that you do. So you have like, hey,
Yeah.
after I finish these 10 things, I'm gonna have these next 10 things, and I know that you have
Yeah.
all, like, where do you keep all of that?
So like the reflections things in terms of like, oh, right, we're taking the notes.
Well, I mean, for example, like, what do you want to do in June? Like, you're gonna finish all the different tasks that you have, and
Yeah.
you schedule them out throughout the week,
Yeah.
and so on, or the month, or whatever
Yep.
it is. But then you have like June or July or August or whatever, and it's like, okay, I have my annual goals that I'm gonna achieve.
Yep.
Where do you have, because you don't want to clutter this calendar with those type of things where you just keep moving it every day.
No. So what I found is if I keep moving stuff, I probably should just delete it. So to my point, it's like, you're like, oh, this is not a priority. So I'm just gonna delete it, right? So like, what happens is like, when you start having also awareness, you start realizing like, a lot of stuff actually isn't that important. But we think it's important based on the belief that we have about whatever task it is. Interesting, I should do that. I should get rid of that, right? But where you place it doesn't really matter as much as you have a system. That's the key. Have somewhere to do it. It could be Microsoft Outlook. It could be an Excel. It could be a Google Sheet. It could be Excel sheet. It could be an app of some sort. But as long as you have a single place to manage your stuff, that's really important. Okay? One calendar for your life, right? So this is an example. This is my calendar. This is what it looks like. Okay? Like this is last week, right? So I broke it down. It's not quite to where I want it to be, but it's getting closer. Stuff I do in the morning, you know, like I'm reviewing numbers and metrics. I'm with my team. You know, we have this console, this guy wanted to pay me a lot of money for an hour and a half. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Yeah. I'm like, are you sure, man? Just join my other program.
So this is what I was saying before though.
Yeah.
This is obviously not
Yeah.
the one that's connected to calendar.
Well, here's the thing. Why am I taking calls? I have a team now. So remember, it's different stages. So before, I was taking sales calls, so I couldn't do that. So what I have to do is, this is how it might look.
If it was open, that meant that was call time.
Well, here's the thing. So you have to be always strategic and think ahead. So I'll give you an example of a Tuesday, because you know this is kind of an often, but Tuesday is a good example. So like, let's just say for example, it's an open block, right? And I already have in my action on my to-dos to go and like create content that Tuesday, but I want to keep it for sales calls. So what I'll do is with Calendly, it's open. It's because I'm not going to block it out.
So just open means that's call time.
Yeah, or what I'll do is like, if I want to make sure I kind of block it out, is I'll still create it, but I'll make it free.
Yeah.
So then that way, if it fills up, no problem. Or what I may do is just build a smaller block for like an hour for content, and hopefully the other like couple of sections get like up. So basically you choose what you want and just make sure that that's open. That's all you have to do. So, good question. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. Everything. Look, we started therapy for my kid. It's in my calendar because I don't want to check multiple calendars. I want one calendar. Like, it makes it easy. We're testing a new babysitter. See how it goes. My kid had karate. We're driving to karate. I had a doctor's appointment, right? Walk my wife. I walk with my wife every single Friday. We're going to walk, hang out, we get some coffee. It's our thing that we do, right? So I'm just trying to make it very simple for me to follow and make 0 decisions. Because if you have to make a decision in that day, you're probably not going to make the right decision. You can choose what's easiest. Yeah.
Do you just take off Saturday and Sunday fully?
Yeah. I don't work Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, I do some it's like some LinkedIn a little bit, but like just to kind of respond to some people. But like, I don't really work on Saturdays and Sundays. Now, early I did, a little bit different. Like when it was just me, yeah, for sure, 100%. Because like I try to be a solopreneur with like nobody, and that was really hard, right? And I remember making that shift when I'm like, oh my god, like I only made X amount this month because I took a vacation. That's not good. I don't like that. That really bothered me. So I had to learn to give up control and do something different. So when it's your baby, it's really hard, right? So.
Marcus, how
Yeah.
far out do you build the calendar? Do you do it week after week?
In terms of like this actual calendar here, so I have recurring things that are going to show up consistently. So those are always recurring, so you just kind of keep those on there. I typically will build like 1 week at a time, roughly, because there's volatility. When you're by yourself, there's so much volatility. You know, like you're like, okay, I could create some content, but my burn rate for cash is lower than my incoming cash, so I need to get some sales calls there. All right, so I need to fill it, yeah.
Do you pre-block or account for odds and ends? Like, because I have a perfect week,
Yeah.
so when I'm off, and I
Yeah.
can feel when I'm off, but it's the reactive stuff. It's,
Yeah.
hey, can I catch a meeting? It's,
Yeah.
if there's fucking fires in Slack or whatever, like, but you know it's gonna come up, like, it's
Yeah.
predictable enough.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what it is.
It's gonna happen.
Do you say 8 to 9, I'm gonna be on Slack in kind of reactive mode, I just accept that's what that
Good question. So there's a couple things I do, right? So number one, you see something called Plan Tomorrow Social Media Catch Up. That's like my catch-all kind of. It doesn't take me like 30 minutes or an hour to plan my next day. It takes like a second. Social media catch up, that might be like 5 minutes. So now I'm like, I know that's like a buffer time for sure. You know, and also, I'll actually intentionally build a larger block of time for certain things, just in case, for that reason. So for example, when I'm reviewing our analytics, it doesn't take me a full 30 minutes. No. It takes me like 5 minutes. But I have a buffer just in case I need it. So yeah, I kind of have these built, like, it's like overestimating how much time is going to take. So I have buffers. It doesn't mean like it's like going to be perfect, but you have a little more buffer room to actually dance around it, right? Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah, I think a lot of times I get optimistic. Like I put
Yeah.
in the perfect case scenario. It never is.
No, think worse. Everything takes longer, right? It takes so much longer, you know? Like, oh, I'm just going to migrate a website. No, you're okay.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, right?
I try to force myself into it.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another example. Cash is king. Does anyone disagree? Cash is king, right? If your business has no cash, unless you raise some money, your business will die. So, this is just another example of things that I do. Cash flow efficiency. I review my QuickBooks every single day. That's accounting software if you don't know. So every single day. I review the bank every single day. I want to see the dollars in and not out, but the out happens too. I review my Amex bill or my transactions every single day. Every single day, right? Wise, that's for transfers, it holds cash there, same thing. So I look at net cash flow. What's my net cash I have? Every single day. Every single day. I review the closure calendar because that brings cash. I look at it. How are we doing, right? Because again, these are data points, which allows me to make different decisions if I need to. I may need to pivot my day now because like, oh no, we had all those call cancellations for the rest of the week. Open calendar, white space on a closer's calendar means no new blood. No future payment plans, no new cash, no new nothing. So now I can make a different decision. Okay? This is really important. Monthly expense review and cost cutting. Right? I review expenses and I cut stuff. Not necessary, not necessary, not necessary. Why? Because again, cash is king. So when you start thinking that way, like I look at the account like that's my money coming out every single day. And when you start thinking that way, because it is your money, like you have to operate a little bit differently. You have to micromanage it, because if you're not careful, you might blow all of it, right? So, and I have a buddy who like built a great business, and we were talking last week. He's like, dude, bad news. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I have to fire my whole staff. I'm like, what? He's like, everyone off. I'm like, what happened? He's like, dude, like we're selling stuff, like we lost like some clients, etc. And we gave everyone raises at the same time because we were doing well, and we overspent. We were negative in the bank. I'm like, what? Like, how did that happen? He's like, I just reviewed my bank and just noticed. I'm like, wait, how often do you review it? He's like, once a month. I'm like, once a month? Why do you do once a month? He's like, I just, yeah. It's like, so we have money coming in, we payment plans, etc. Right? So like, I just review it, but also like, so I've also found errors like Amex billing. I've seen bank stuff happen. Like money gets moved out. I'm like, what the hell? It's Chase Bank. And I'll find out what happened, right? Why did like 2K just get moved out? And they'll be like, it was like, oh, sorry, wrong number got typed in. Like, wrong number got typed in? Are you serious? What if you put in like 200,000? Like, don't like that, I used to be a big drinker. Like, it's just like the sales culture, like, we're getting hyped up. I mean, that was normal. Close a lot of deals, big week, big month, President's Club, get wild, numb the pain. Just smoke a lot of weed too. It was like, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's like you can do whatever fits you, but it started to not serve me. As I moved up my career, like, and I was telling, I think it was Adam last night, I'm like, I would be with my sales team. I would like fly out of like, Portland to my sales team, like 4 a.m., get to like, whatever city I'm in, and then I'd be with my team until 10 p.m. We're just doing all type of shit. I'm doing everything. And we have team dinner, so I used to just drink. Like, I'd drink with them, and then like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go back to the hotel now. Now I have like 150 emails to go through. And I go through these emails, and I have these HR situations and these documents and people doing dumb shit. And I had to like respond with a clear mind because it's all documented. And I couldn't always operate on my game. I was like, fine. But I'm like, oh no. Like, okay, I need to make sure let me look at this like this forged document. They like, is that the same? Like, all right, what we're gonna do here, we have this deposition we have to deal with now. So it's just like, the stakes are getting higher and higher because, at that level, like you make one bad decision, they just fire you at the director level. They're like, you're gone, right? Like, especially like, I was one of the highest paid guys at the company as a director. And they're like, easy way to make more, like, bring extra cash back. Bring in now a director who's been there for the last tenure, right? And they perform a little bit less, but, it's fine. He got systems in play, he scaled the business up, So it's just, the stakes got too high, man. I wasn't willing to risk it, Yo.
Did you do this since day one, like as a
No.
entrepreneur? Or
No.
When did you start the CEO work?
So like once I started hiring people, for sure, right? Because like when it's just you kind of like know it all for the most part, right? So you kind of like know it all. You're like, oh, I know what's going on. It's like less likely to have errors. But then something would happen. You're like, okay, I need a new system for that. For example, like I didn't used to check my bank every day until a couple different times weird transactions happened. Like this is Chase Bank. Like some money got taken out. I'm like, where'd that go? Why? Right? It's an error. I called them, it was an error. Someone typed the wrong number in. Type in my account number. Right? Right? And some money got moved in. I'm like, that's weird. Where did the money come from? Accident as well. I'm like, what is happening? Like, so that's why I started to do that. So it's like it's a result of an issue that I'm like, I need to do something different to hopefully minimize the chances of this happening, or at least if I can catch it, I can deal with it, right? Sometimes it's like if it's like too late, you're like you may not even catch it.
Yeah, it's almost a tick for QuickBooks in my bank every single morning. So
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I do.
Yeah, you gotta check the net cash flow. Like especially it's like as I'm hiring more expensive employees, like it's like I'm like wiring money out. Like I gotta like make sure like they have a career. Like people are depending on me. I'm not gonna let them down. I'm not gonna let their families down. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier profit first. Do
Yeah.
you use that yourself?
Yeah, I do.
Like, do you recommend it?
Yeah, it's a really simple model, right? Anyone read Profit First? Really good book. Basically, pay yourself first. You pay yourself first. You kind of have different accounts you kind of allocate to, and I do that, and it works pretty well, right?
Do you think that like one, as often as you check
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
As long as you pay yourself.
do you think that would be different if you had more of like a recurring revenue model?
I don't know if I would. I don't know. Maybe it might change.
Yeah, because I mean, I can look in my case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost every single one of my clients
Yeah.
is on some sort of long-term plan.
Yeah.
I can tell you what revenue is going to be
Yeah.
well ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I still look at Stripe.
Well, I should cash collect. I want to see cash collected. Like, yeah.
And I still, so I'll
Yeah.
check on Stripe,
Yeah.
just out of
Yeah.
curiosity, but that's usually more like, once a week because I know what should be coming in.
So I want to see cash in the bank. Cash in the bank. Because like Stripe will hold your funds, PayPal will hold your funds, right?
And I haven't, knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood.
I've
Yeah.
done a lot through.
Yeah.
going into that.
Yeah.
And then I also, I have
Yeah. But it takes a few seconds though, right? So that's all I do. So yeah.
Hey, you've written all this down, right?
What's that?
You got to list all your systems, your time audits written down, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just sell this as your next offer?
So here's the thing. I get asked this a lot, right? Where it's like, dude, you're kind of like a crazy machine systems guy. Here's the reality. This is what people need. It's not what they want.
Well, no,
You
but
know?
I'm saying like, this is like a promoting commission
Yeah,
that a small
Yeah.
portion
Yeah.
would actually use this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I thought about building that offer out, you know? I get shiny things into the trail. I'm like, should I build this? Should I build that? It's kind of like you choose something, you kind of go with it, right? Eventually that might happen. Who knows? Maybe you guys will be the beta. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll pre-sell you guys my offer here, you know? And I'll teach you exactly how to do it. Yeah. So all you have to do is just Slack me your credit card number. We'll do a quick refundable deposit if we don't do it by a certain time.
Confirm that it went through tomorrow morning.
Beautiful. That sounds good. That sounds good. All right. We'll keep rolling. Good? Yeah.
Yeah, and we are just for context, we have this until 6, it's
Yeah.
5 now.
Yeah.
So we can go
Cool.
as long as we want. I said
Cool.
2 or 3 minutes.
Cool. What time is dinner at? Yeah.
7.
Oh, cool. Okay, awesome, sweet. Okay, I won't go that time. So anyway, you get my point. So, but here's kind of my point. If you have a problem, is it in your way of your main vision? If it is, how can you systemize it? Like out. Like how can you systemize it? Just like think that simply. Like here's the big problem. It's my obstacle. What am I gonna do? Like how can I get it out of the way? That's it. Real easy. Okay. And then over time, you go to step 4, system refinement, which is pretty simple. Which is like, okay, you know, you refine, adjust over time. That makes sense. As you start, you keep it really simple when you start. Like don't go crazy. So like I showed you a lot of this. Majority should not do any of this, like all of this, like all at once. Pick things that actually are in your way first, and focus on that. These are just examples to get you thinking about use cases, so you can choose. This is my obstacle. How can I systemize this out? That's it. It's a mental model think. All right. Then you build the highest priority ones first. Okay. These are the ones that give you the greatest leverage. So think about what's the big constraint right now that I can like kind of build out and like that will really help you long-term wise. Really important. Okay. Has long-term upside. Okay. So I want to show you a really simple example here. So July 2021, I've been running. I'm not gonna say I was a sole producer. I had 2 VAs at that time, but I was still basically doing everything because you know the VAs are really good, but it's like sounds mean, but it's like 2 hands, no brain. Like you just tell them what to do, so they go do it. They can't really that's the thing for themselves. It makes it really hard to scope as long-term wise for certain things you have to do that require more critical thinking skills, creativity, and execution at a whole new level. So I decided to go on vacation for finally after a year and a half, and I went to Hawaii. I'm gonna go for 2 weeks, take the family. It's been amazing, and I'm going to no sales calls. I'm still running on sales calls, no sales calls. This is family time. There's boundaries. We're gonna chill, have fun. This is me and the family. This is really important. I don't want my kid to remember dad as a guy who's always on his phone or on his laptop. No way. So I go out there. It's an amazing time. I made $0 those 2 weeks, right? I was like, oh my God, I'm the bottleneck. So at that point, I'm like, oh no, I need to do something I didn't want to do, which is hire people, hire salespeople. I didn't want to do that. I'm like, this mental block, right? I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, well, I know how this goes because I can't hire someone and not set them up for success. So what did I do? I built a system, and I went and I built a step-by-step training that's over 40 hours long of my entire business, of the entire sales process. I went through case studies, testimonials, examples, and I broke this. So first section, belief building. So I went through case studies, examples, and showed transformations of what we do, the lives we've changed, and I make them watch all of it, right? It's all in the system. And then from there, then they go through, and I break down step by step the entire sales process, right? It's basically my main core program I sell, but customized to the business. I take live calls. I give them 15 of my live calls. I break down. I do live call reviews of my own calls. I walk through. Here's why I did this. Here's why I did this. This is how this fits what you just already learned, so they can see how I'm handling it, how to do every single thing. So this way, they have a playbook to build off of. So I built this. Did it take a lot of work? Absolutely. Does it cut down ramp time drastically? 100%. because now they have a playbook. This is what I wish I had in corporate. I wish I could have done this, but they wouldn't allow me to do this. I'm like, I knew I had 157 days from the time I opened a rec to when they actually perform at a certain level. That costs me money. That territory is open. I need to cut that down in half. Don't like that. One-time investment pays dividends forever. That's an example. All right, so here's some bonus productivity tips. Who here sees like something new, like, oh, I should do this project, I should do that project. Who has that? Anybody? Me all the time, right? I'm like, I should do this, I should do this. Oh, okay. So, and what happens is, you don't make a decision. Weird. That's not familiar? Anybody? Yeah? Right? Right? We've all been there. So here's a really simple framework. It's helped me. Maybe it'll help you. I don't know. I think about this thing I'm going to do. What's the investment time return? For my investment time, what type of return will I get out of that? So what's the tangible, quantifiable upside or return? If I put $1 to it or whatever number to it, what's that look like? Potentially. What's the intangible upside? So maybe it's like, this will remove my stress. So for example, that trading thing I built out, I'm like, this will remove, number one, it will make more money, and it will reduce my stress because what I can't do is when they get hired, spend all the time training them, doing all of a sudden basically repeating myself over and over, because that cuts into other things as well. But if I can have that system in place, I can still do that as well, but I can do a little bit less now, hopefully. That was the goal. What's the tangible, quantifiable downside? Ooh, what's my risk now? How can I quantify it? What will it cost me if this does not really work out potentially? What's the intangible downside? Same thing. Oh man, like I'll be really pissed or whatever. Who knows? Doesn't matter. What's the absolute worst case scenario in costs? For example, when I was deciding to leave corporate to go on in the business, I'm like, well, what's the absolute worst case? I failed terribly and I go get a job as a CRO. That was it. I'm like, that's actually not that bad when you think I won't die. But did you die? Name that movie. All right. Okay, what's the urgency on a scale of 1 to 10? Because maybe some things are more urgent, right? So that's important. So here's some examples of what I said yes to. Well, Zoho migration and data analytics. So long-term wise, it's going to be a lot of work for my tech guy to build it out, but it's going to pay a lot of dividends. So now I have really clear numbers. I can very quickly look at the data now. It's like, I see it. I can see the lead flow. I can see what our options. I can see every part of the process in a second. This allows me to make better decisions. New video sales letter, writing a book. That has paid a lot of long-term dividends. Like, you don't get rich selling books. You use the books as a lead magnet to book high-ticket calls, and you close people with it. And you sell them better things that are more expensive that are going to actually help them. Going all in on YouTube was a good decision for sure. Partnerships with LinkedIn Learning and Gong. So I got partnered with LinkedIn Learning. We're doing this whole thing. I partnered with Gong as well. This is a sales software. Again, long-term dividends. Take a lot of work right now, but it'll pay me long-term dividends. Here's what I said no to. Okay? So like, I get like new starting podcasts. Like, hey, I'm starting a podcast. Before I said yes to everything, but then I realized when I wanted something like this, like I'm like podcast interview number 1 or 2, they weren't very good. Also, they weren't very good distributing it, and the audience wasn't very big. So it wasn't mutually beneficial. So they would really benefit when I would mention, hey, this is like, check out this clip from this interview. They would really benefit, but it wasn't really mutually beneficial. So now I'm like, okay, what can I'm gonna say no to those ones now, right? And it's just because your time is so valuable. Creating more mini offers. I should create another mini, I should create this, I should create that. That distracts your focus. So I'm saying no to that. Massive changes in my offer. Like completely, this is not right. I'm gonna scrap everything, completely change it. That can shift your momentum. Now, sometimes they are good moves, right? But you just have to be careful in deciding, right? Partnerships with low leverage peeps. I can't tell you how many times someone says, Marcus, they DM me, dude, I just quit my job. Let's partner up. I'm like, interesting. Great. I'm like, but here's what's crazy. The synergy. But the craziest part is a lot of them we've never messaged before. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, what do you even do? Are you even good at what you say you're gonna do? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like,
wouldn't that be a good opportunity to kind of get them underneath you as like the affiliate model?
So
make them go run for you and then just take money off the top that they're making for you?
So like, there's ways to leverage. I literally just say, here's my book, you can go buy it. Right? Like, yeah, just buy the book first, right?
Here's the
Yeah.
partnership.
Yeah.
Give me money, I give you a book.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, come on, right? Making little changes for from student requests or chasing shiny things. Like, I'll see an ad, like, ooh, I should try that. Ooh, is X the new thing I should do? Is that? And we get enticed by the marketers. So I have to make sure I'm like, that's why number one's really important, like that clarity, laser focus. You have a question, Phil? No? Okay. So here's some other just kind of small productivity hacks that maybe will help you, maybe it won't, I don't know. Turn off all your notifications. This helps you be a little more focused. So like all notifications off. That really helps you kind of just minimize the noise. Right? Other get sucked away. Robbie, are you a notification guy?
Never been involved.
You're like, oh my God. Like, because you get the phantom like vibrate, you're like, they just go off. It's an addiction, right? Right? So do not disturb is this auto on my phone. It just turns on between these times automatically. So this way it blocks through. Like now, obviously my wife called through, etc. This kid's school, just in case, right? That happened. Yeah. Do not disturb, right?
The tap
Yeah.
that I got from you where you change the changes.
Oh yeah, the red light filter. Oh yeah, that's a good hack. I do the triple tap to turn the red light filter on my phone, so it minimizes the level of shininess, so you're less likely to look at notifications that you do see on there, right? Good hack as well. Also really good for before you go to bed to activate the melatonin in your brain, so you start going to sleep a little earlier. That's actually why I have red lights in my house. I'm crazy, I know. I'm weird. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm weird. I got it. Okay. App limits. So there's app limits on iPhones, maybe on Android too, for anything that's like kind of addicting. So for me, it's social media. I'm very obsessive, so I get sucked in very easily about things. So I create constraints around that. So I use app limits. So an hour max for all social media. So it pops up and stops. Hey, you reached your limit. That helps me. Newsfeed eradicator, free Chrome extension. So it blocks the whole feed on my desktop for LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So I go there, I do what I need to do, and I get out. So I'm not controlled by the algorithm. I'm controlled by my focus on what I decide to do on the platform. Very important. Time blocks. Okay, we kind of discussed some of that already, blocking out time to do stuff. Everything mapped on the calendar. That just makes it a little bit easier, so you don't have to decide or think. Minimizes decisions. Physical timer. It's just like simple, but I have a physical timer on my desk for a time block. So like, it can be kitchen time, it could be anything. I try to do different from the phone, because this way it symbolizes something to me personally. I'm like, it's go time. So I'll set a time block, I'm like, I'm gonna write a sales letter. 30 minutes, go.
I haven't created this habit yet, but when I do Pomodoro technique, which is
Yeah.
basically like 25 minutes and then 5 straight,
Perfect.
it works great. Now I just got to turn it into a habit.
The timer thing
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I actually use like a turn kitchen timer because
Yeah.
when it makes a little
Yeah.
tick, and when you hear that, like when I'm sitting there and I just hear it,
Right.
that there's something about that
Yeah.
that like gets you more focused. 'Cause you
Totally.
recognize it. But the ones that don't make the sound
Yeah.
don't have the same.
There's probably studies, I'm sure, too, like that really,
It's an anchor point.
yeah, exactly right. So I love anchor points then. I love that term. Yeah.
We did that a lot with music and different things.
Same thing. I think it was the biurinal music. It's like these it hits like certain like wavelengths, right?
Even ceiling height as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in low ceiling, you're way more focused on specific types
Really?
of tasks.
See, I love that.
When there's higher ceilings, it's more creative.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you look at
interesting.
water,
Yeah.
when you're looking at water, you're more creative. It anchors you to that creative.
Ooh,
frame.
I gotta move by waterfront. That's a good idea. I like where your head's at.
I literally can't look out my window because when I look at the ocean, all I can think about is going into the fucking ocean. I'm waiting.
Ah. Okay. Get a kiddie pool. Get a kiddie pool.
Like triggers your creative side. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a book called Blue Mind. Yeah. So some people react very different than others.
Yeah, that's
Sort of
right.
like,
I love it. Almost done. Dedicated workspace, same place kind of work I think is important. So you kind of like train yourself, like this is like zone time, right? Like it's important. Plan ahead, so remove decision making, mentioned that. Stuff that if it doesn't add value to your life, plan ahead and just have it like set. Like I eat the same stuff every single day when I'm at home, so I only think. It's very consistent. It's very boring. I don't really care. Food is just purely nutrition for me. That's fine. School pickup schedule. I plan ahead so I don't really think, okay, this is when I pick up the kid. I don't need like, who's picking up? No, I know. It's on my calendar, I know. Track data for things that matter, okay? Systemize things that find zero value. If you find zero value in it, but it has to be done, systemize it. So here's some examples. I get made fun of, but I wear the same clothes every day. I wear the same black V-neck. Well, clean ones, obviously, but it's the same thing every time. Some people make fun of me. I don't really give a because I don't need to think about it. I can grab a different pair of shirts. Shirts I don't really care. I just grab it, I throw it on. Because it doesn't bring me value. But if it brings you value, you should do it. But it's a thing about things in your life that you can just kind of set on automatic, not worry about, right? Same food, same thing I mentioned that. Same haircut. This is easy, right? Same haircut every time. Same groceries, pretty consistent every time. And so as you kind of recap this, right? It's the 4 steps: vision clarity, life and business, data clarity, system building, system refinement. This, which is very simple when you think about what it is. Executing is hard, obviously, but it's getting really clear about what you personally want. And again, you can apply this to literally anything. So I'll give you a really simple example. So some of you guys know, I mentioned this before, my kid has a lot of allergies. Over 40 life-threatening allergies. Over 20 are with food, like anaphylaxis, meaning if he eats the wrong thing, it's like EpiPen, right to the hospital. And as parents, it's really scary because that means as a kid, he can't go to birthday parties and eat what's there. He has to worry about the school. We can't eat at regular restaurants, so we have to pre-plan everything, bring everything with us. Planes, we have to wipe everything down. It's like always like a thing. And talking to different allergists, they're like, this is just your life. Maybe there's some options. Maybe you maybe grew out of it. Here's another option. There's like a 40% chance it'll work. We're like, that's not good enough. So we need the data. This is where we're at. We got a lot of freaking allergies. So we started to research and figure out, okay, what are our options here? And we found a really great allergist in Southern California. 15,000 plus studies. This guy uses AI and data to create custom plans and defines a similar food protein to the allergy. And based off small doses, based off what the algorithm shows, you start introducing your kid to these allergies like early on and through like a plan for 6 to 8 weeks, and it builds up their immune system tolerance to the point where eventually over time, they can actually eat the thing. So not just like, bite it, I'm okay. Like right now, if you had a peanut, he probably would die if we didn't take him to the hospital. After we go through everything, he'll be able to eat a Snickers bar if he wanted to, right? So we see the vision, we see the why, we know what's there. We have the data. So now we're in this program, and what's crazy about this plan is so every 6 to 8 weeks, we have to go through every single week, or every 6 to 8 weeks, we get a new plan of what he needs to eat, right? And these are different things he has to eat every single day. Here's like, he has to have X number of pine nuts. He needs to have so much chia seed. He needs to have all these recommended foods. And he has to do it multiple times in a week. Most people can't execute this plan because they don't have a system. So once I had the plan, all I did was build a simple system, right? In Google Sheets, and how we track it and how we track compliance. And then different reminders from my wife and I for making sure we're hitting certain like timing in the day for certain things he has to have. So I built a system around it. And now we're about 90% compliance, which is decent for the first several weeks. So now we're gonna go back in actually next week, we're gonna go see the doctor again, and now we're gonna be able to go and get a new plan for food and do it again. But the reality is, when you have the system, it increases our chances for success. It's not guaranteed, but now we have the highest upside. So I share that with you because I share a lot of different examples here. You don't need all the systems. But you may need some systems for your own business, and the key is understanding, what do I need to actually build out? Figuring out, and then ultimately from there, then you'll be able to fix it and change your life too, just like my kids' life's gonna change, all right? So one last quote before we wrap up. A question? No, good? I love this James Clear quote. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That's where you fall to.